So, hi, anyone and everyone. Today's topic was inspired by this article from CNN Health. So, apparently, two people got infected with the disease most commonly known as the Black Death. Kinda racist name. So, the article from the CNN Health is about a few cases of the plague in China. Apparently, this is the second time, as of recent, that the disease popped up. Back in May 2019, a Mongolian couple died after consuming the raw kidney of a mammoth, a local remedy. That's a groundhog for those like me who didn't know what a mammoth was. I mean, really, a raw kidney of a giant rat. Really, a freaking idiots. The two new patients are being treated and measures are being taken to prevent further infection. And the reality is, the chances of another pandemic are slim to none. So the cause of this prolific disease is a bacterium known as Yersinia pestis. But before we get into that, let's just have a quick history lesson on where this all started. The Black Death was a disease that spread across Europe between 1346 and 1353, leaving illness and death in its wake with a fatality rate between 50 and 90%. By the end, it resulted in a loss of approximately 60% of the population of Europe, leaving millions dead. No one was safe, from kings to bishops to the poor, obviously. They were all getting it. It's a lesson in the importance of disease understanding and control, because this pandemic changed the world. Wars ended, trading slowed. It even increased wages because so many laborers died. It even put the artistic world into flux, with artists, musicians, sculptors, poets fixed on the thought of death, and it translated into their work. People turned away from religion and were drawn to mysticism. The Jewish population at a point were blamed and killed in mass. It was a terrible time to be alive, absolute chaos. But the thing is, there were plagues before and after this, likely caused by the same bacteria. But because of the sheer devastation of this episode, it became such a well-known event in human history. So let's get back to the science. The bacteria, Yersinia pestis, that actually gets the person sick, is not technically spread by the rats themselves, but by the fleas that live in their fur when they hop off and bite a person. Typically, the cycle of infection of the plague moves from a rodent to a flea to another rodent, but during the Black Plague, we got mixed into that cycle. There were rats in close proximity with people, and that gave the fleas the opportunity for a new host. So when you get bitten and the bacteria enters your bloodstream, it multiplies in the tissue and a person can die. I'm not getting into what happens in rodents, but let's start on what happens in the human body, where the disease has three presentations: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. The bubonic presentation was the most common and least life-threatening. Symptoms start 2 to 6 days after infection and are flu-like, with fever, vomiting, headache, weakness, shivering, and body pains. There is a characteristic sign of tender swollen bumps, or bubo, around the groin and armpits. These are swollen lymph nodes. With the pneumonic presentation, the bacteria infects the lungs, causing pneumonia, usually resulting in shortness of breath and weakness from lack of oxygen. Eventually, the infection fills the lungs with fluids, and a person basically drowns. This form is extremely contagious because every time a person coughs, they release the bacteria in droplets. And now finally, the septicemic plague, where the bloodstream is invaded with the bacteria. A septic patient will have high fevers and can develop internal bleeding, leading to, you guessed it, death. Some patients experience tissue necrosis, where body parts basically die and turn black. An infected person can experience any three of these presentations, but they are not limited to getting just one. Now for some good news. The Black Death existed in a time where human hygiene wasn't really a priority. In the homes of that time, rodents were commonplace. Luckily, today, with proper sanitation and pest control, we have been able to keep rodent populations from booming in homes. Besides these measures, this time around, we have lab tests on blood and secretions to identify the bacteria in patients and antibiotics to help fight it off, of which streptomycin is the most commonly used. Sometimes, if streptomycin isn't available, gentamicin is. In the modern healthcare system, the plague's mortality rate is less than 15%, a dramatic decrease from those long gone times. But rodents are resilient little bastards, though, and they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And so that's it. I just want to thank anyone that listened to the end, and please like, favorite, subscribe, share the video if you think it was helpful or educational. Thank you.